Always easy to follow the rules and the signs posted around the racetrack.
Checkered is waiting. Ernie Irvin wins, and Rusty Smith then gets airborne and flips wildly right at the start-finish line. Very reminiscent of his accident at Daytona.
Well, we have had a major crash here at Talladega right in front of us, and the car that gave us the biggest scare was Mark Martin, and we can only breathe a sigh of relief to see him get out of that thing. Morgan Shepherd will line up beside Dale Earnhardt for third.
Oh, and Morgan gets the car out of shape. He and Earnhardt almost get together.
The roof flaps do their job. Here we go. It comes down now to a battle between Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon off of corner number 4. Jeff looks to the inside as they come to the tri-oval. Mark Martin will lead them down. However, he's got the advantage. And there's the checkered flag. Mark Martin wins the Winston Select 500. Gordon is second. At Talladega, the tendency is to get to the highest point to watch the action, and there isn't a seat to be had anywhere here today as the Winston Select 500 is about to go. ESPN SpeedWorld welcomes you live to Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, and the Winston Select 500 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. It is a beautiful day here in Talladega. The short track season is over, and here are the points leaders. We told you before the short track season that positions would change, and indeed we have a new points leader in Dale Earnhardt. Jeff Gordon jumped 7 positions during the short track season. However, Bill Elliott and Ricky Rudd dropped 3 positions during the short track season. But now we're at Talladega, where the speeds are over 200 miles an hour, but the excitement is just as great. We talked last week before Martinsville, Ned, about how patience was the key there. What's the key to winning here at Talladega?
Well, certainly patience are important here too, Bob. You can't afford to make any radical moves out there, but drafting is the key. We've talked about how one car can draft another one, even though he might be 2 or 3 miles an hour slower in qualifying. We're going to see that all day long. We're going to see a lot of cars running together, and sometimes we see some bumping when we see that many cars running together.
Let's check on the latest stories from pit road. First, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Bob, the stands are packed and so are the pits, but calculations now begin in earnest here in the pits. I'm in Ernie Irvin, our pole sitters pitting behind me. Larry McReynolds beginning to calculate what the fuel mileage will be today for the 4s. Now, look here. It's a 188-lap race. You count backwards. 188, that's a checkered flag. Minus 55 laps, that's what they should be able to run. That means they stop on lap 133. Minus 55, lap 78. Minus 55, lap 23. That's the best case scenario if they can make it 55. Everyone calculating in the pits. For more, let's go to Bill Weber.
Well, I'm standing here between the pits of Ken Schrader and Ward Burton. If I look down that way, I can't even see the finish line. It's 500 miles away, but remember, it's further down pit road. One other stat. They've run a little over 100 races here at, check that, about 53 races here at Talladega. 26 of them have been won from the front row. That's 49%. So if you have Yates in the pool, you might be in pretty good shape. To my partner, John Kernan.
Darrell Walter needed a champion's provisional to get into this race. Talked to Jeff Hammond, his team manager. Darrell and he have won a lot of races over the years, some championships this morning, and Jeff told me they have gone and changed engines. They have gotten an engine from the 44 crew, a Ron Hutter engine, and yesterday afternoon in practice, Darrell was at least a second faster. So even though he's starting shotgun on the field, old DW has a smile on his face as he rolls out there on the racetrack.
Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's race. It's Ernie Irvin on the pole at 192.8 miles an hour with Dale Jarrett, who's going for the Winston Million, $100,000 if he can win here today. If he wins 3 of the 4, he wins the million. Second row in today's race will be Jeremy Mayfield and Sterling Marlin. Jeremy with his best start after his best finish last week. The third row, Ted Musgrave and Mike Skinner. Row number 4 is Jeff Purvis and Robert Presley. In the fifth row, Jeff Burton and Johnny Benson, the rookie. Defending Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon starts 11th alongside Derek Cope. Then the Labonte brothers in row number 7, Terry and Bobby. And as you look at the rest of the starting lineup, we'll remind you the race is 188 laps long. They're racing on corners banked at 33 degrees, and never a dull moment at Talladega.
No, they can run very easily, 2 and even sometimes 3 or 4 abreast on these turns, Bob, even though they like to stay in at least 2 single lines if possible, but occasionally we'll see them get 3 wide. There's Michael Waltrip starting back there in the 16th row. He's anxious to get up towards the front, which all these guys are that are starting back there.
Might tell you that Benny Parsons is a little under the weather and will not be with us here this afternoon, but we invite you to stay tuned for what is always one of the most exciting races of the year. There you see the provisional starters, including Mike Wallace and Brett Bodine, and Darrell Waltrip with the former champions provisional, giving us 43 cars to take the green flag in just a moment. 7 of today's top 10 starters have never won a NASCAR Winston Cup race, and this is certainly a racetrack that we have seen many first-time winners at, and we could see another today. We dedicate this race to the president of ARCA, Bob Loga, who died yesterday afternoon from injuries suffered in a traffic accident, a highway accident, near the Speedway on Friday.
Comes down looking for green. The Winston Select 500 is on.
Takes a while to get these restrictor plate motors wound up. In fact, it takes more than a lap. But they're already winding up pretty good. Jarrett has nobody up on the outside there to draft with him. Sterling Marlin didn't get off to a very good start there. With those 2 Rocket King Fords running neck and neck into turn 3.
Just like they were when they crossed the starting line, they're still side by side as they head for the 3rd and 4th turns. Jeremy Mayfield is tucked right in behind Ernie Irvan down low.
Number 1, Sterling Marlin makes it 3 wide at the line, and I have no idea. I think it was Sterling that led it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Look at Earnhardt in the middle, Ned.
Wow, that's not a place you want to be this early in the race, but if anybody can handle that situation, he can. He might have an opportunity there to get out in front of Robert Presley, but he didn't. No, it didn't quite work for him.
So Earnhardt is in the middle of a 2x2. Now he ducks in the low line and gets behind, or tries to get in front of Jeff Gordon, but can't do that either. And here's the view from Mark Martin's roof cam.
Boy, look at the cars in front of him. Of course, Mark started back in 37th position.
Two by two this time down the line. Marlin and Ernie Irvan side by side, and Sterling has the advantage again, but it's just inches.
Just by inches. He goes out in front now. Dale Jarrett sort of pushed Marlin into that first turn. Not literally pushing. They were not touching, but the draft certainly helps. The car behind you helps the car in front.
Now we have 2x2 as Earnhardt was able to get in front of Jeff Gordon. Meanwhile, down low, we see Jeff Burton, who makes it 3 wide.
Puts Earnhardt back in the middle again. Riding with Dale Jarrett. And he passes Sterling Marlin, takes the lead.
Jarrett is going to lead lap number 3. Ernie Irvan second. Already Jeremy Mayfield's car, which is the 3rd one down on the bottom line, has a donut on the side of his car. He's had contact with somebody out there already. This is Ken Schrader's in-car camera. See 3 wide racing as Earnhardt has dropped to the inside to make it 3 wide. And there you see Jeff Burton also down low.
Well, that makes me nervous every time we see cars 3 wide, because that guy in the middle, he's sort of a sitting duck down there. But lots of that going on here today. Look at Earnhardt making a move 3 deep here.
Earnhardt's going to take Jeff Gordon with him. They're going to put Jeremy Mayfield in the middle, and it hasn't taken long for Dale Earnhardt to come forward. He's up to 4th right now. That's his teammate Mike Skinner in the 31 car up above Jeff Gordon.
So Mike Skinner still hanging in there in the 6th position where he started.
Look at this, Ned.
Wow.
They're using every inch of the backstretch.
You get a little momentum coming off the turn 3, 4 wide. They're a 4 wide.
Wow, look at this.
Be careful, guys, is all I can say.
Bill Elliott way up high. Boy, Benny would love to be here to watch this. This is where he loves to watch a race from. And again, BP is a little under the weather. The car in trouble. Jimmy Spencer.
And it goes down. Everybody gets by him as he went down and off the track, but
it's a 2-car accident. The other machine involved would be the 75 of Morgan Shepherd.
Morgan, when Spencer got sideways, Morgan could not go anywhere, and he just rode along with him until they got up into the wall.
We need a set of tires. Let's fuel it up also.
Listening to Morgan Shepherd's radio.
Spencer caused that whole damn deal down there. Morgan, we're going to get back in this race. We need the points, buddy. Let's have a positive attitude. Morgan, you got any oil pressure?
I doubt it. There's oil all over the windshield. You can see nothing.
Oh, that's a tough break.
And from Morgan Shepherd's perspective, we'll see how this incident unfolded.
Everything riding along pretty good there. And here comes Spencer, the yellow car, coming in there, and he touches. Was that Ricky Craven's car that he touched? And it just shot him right into the outside wall, and Morgan was there and had nowhere to go.
We keep trying to clear the lens, and it won't cleanse because of so much oil that was put down by this. Now here's a perspective. That's Jimmy Spencer there in the middle as they come through the tri-oval. Now watch, he's going to slide up and make contact with Ricky Craven.
Well, Craven came down a little bit as he started off that turn, not knowing that Spencer was there, and they made contact, and it shot Spencer up towards the outside wall, and Morgan Shepherd was there, just simply nowhere to go.
Fortunately, no other car involved, just Jimmy Spencer and Morgan Shepherd. Spencer's car has come to a rest very close to the start-finish line down here. Here's Bill Weber.
Well, I'm down in their pit. Troy Selberg's talking to one of the race officials. As you can see, the crew's already gone back to the garage. They consider this their magic car. In fact, that's what Troy told me this morning. It's run 7 Superspeedway races. It's led in every race. Not today.
It's an early out for both Spencer and Morgan Shepherd. We'll see if they can get their cars repaired and back in the race. But right now, we are under caution here at Talladega with 6 of 188 laps completed. We are still under caution here at Talladega. Good to see that Jacques Villeneuve has won his first Formula One race. We're at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. Jimmy Spencer and Morgan Shepherd involved in an early crash. We've talked to Jimmy. Now let's talk to Morgan. Here's John.
Well, Bob, as we've said earlier, a lot of packs of cars. When something happens, you don't have anywhere to go, and apparently that's what happened to Morgan Shepherd. Could you see it all develop in front of you, Morgan?
Well, all I know is a couple cars got together, and the twin 3 car came across in front of me, and just very, you know, it's hard. Our Remington Thunderbird ran so good in practice yesterday, and we finished 3rd and 4th 2 races last year, and I felt like we had a good shot at it today.
The car, the crew's working to try and get you back out there, cutting the fenders off right now. A lot of oil all over the windshield when they brought it in. Let's go out to pit road and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Hey, John, this caution, a break for Rick Mass, your buddy from Virginia. The Hooters Pontiac felt the vibration. They came down pit road, thought maybe just to take a rubber out of the right rear, but turns out they had run over some debris and punctured a right rear tire, so they came in and changed all 4. So a break for Mass. Maybe that young man's luck is changing, Bob.
Several went in for pit stops. We'll list those for you. Joe Nemechek, Mast, Martin, Kyle Petty, Mike and Kenny Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, Elton Sawyer, Brett Bodine all were in during this caution, which was a little lengthier than it could have been because of oil on the track. Getting set for the restart.
That was a pretty big move by the Sterling Marlin crew to bring the
pace car's coming off.
It has to go all the way to the rear.
John Curry.
In the middle of
Let's go to Bill Weber quickly.
Okay, as Ned was saying, the Ford got fuel. The 88 thought they had right side damage. They asked Ernie Irvin to come up and take a look. Ernie said it was okay. Some left side damage on the 41 car of Ricky Craven. His crew chief, Charlie Presley, believes he'll be okay. Green about to come back out at Talladega. The race resumes.
Green is flying as the cars go through the oil grind. Well, we see the Yates cars 1 and 2. The Childress cars are 3 and 4 as they head for the 32 degrees of banking once again. And as you indicated, Ned, it takes a little bit for these engines to get up to speed.
Yeah, they're looking at 450, 460 horsepower as opposed to the unrestricted engines, which are probably 750 horsepower. So it takes them a little more than a lap. In fact, at the restrictor plate tracks, they give them 2 laps in qualifying so that they can get all of the speed out of the car that the car is capable of.
14-to-1 compression engines and a restrictor plate at 29.30 seconds. 3 wide once again into corner number 1. Jeff Burton down low now. He sneaks up ahead of Rusty Wallace.
Boy, Rusty covered that place very quickly, and Earnhardt has passed Ernie Irvin. Here comes the car number 31 also, Mike Skinner. Earnhardt now becomes a Dale and Dale show here early in the race. And here's Gordon coming down on the inside, trying to take over third.
Doesn't have much help down there on the bottom, but he was still able to sweep around and go into third. So now it's Jarrett Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon.
Ernie Irvin sort of caught on the outside there. Needs a little drafting help. Well, that single file restart separated things for a little bit and broke up those 3 and 4 wide seams that we saw, but now they're beginning to come back already again.
This is from Ted Musgrave's onboard perspective. That's Terry Labonte running to his right. Jeff Purvis up ahead. Jeremy Mayfield to his right now.
Jeremy had dropped back to 11th, but now he's picking back up, got back up in the top 10.
Here's a Napa field summary. The numbers in parentheses indicate where they started. The first 3 in points are the first 3 on the racetrack.
It looked like for a moment that Jarrett, Earnhardt, and Gordon might be able to pull away. And here's Earnhardt going for the lead. But the others caught up to him very quickly, and they're sitting duck once a couple of cars decide they want to team up and go by you, and everybody's going by Dale Jarrett there right now.
Yeah, Jarrett got no help there, and everybody going by him, including Jeff Gordon, Ernie Irvin. Here's Mike Skinner to the inside. There's Terry Labonte right behind Dale Jarrett.
Well, he pulls up there and gives Jarrett a little bit of help, which might let him go, and it does let him go on by Mike Skinner.
Jeremy Mayfield is right behind Mike Skinner, forming the line behind Mike. Meanwhile, the 37 car of John Andretti is on the move, and Rusty Wallace also.
Here we are again with those 3 and 4 wide battles.
Andretti has moved to 21st. Rusty's up to 18th. And John Andretti is right in the middle of the big mess down there in turn 4.
Still his foot on the floorboard. There's Ward Burton in the MBNA car down on the inside of
front, meanwhile, it is still Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon running nose to tail. Ernie Irvan, then side by side, we had Dale Jarrett and Terry Labonte. And here comes Jeremy Mayfield along with Mike Skinner. And Mayfield impressive here in the early going.
Yeah, he got shuffled back there in the early going. Dropped back to 11th, but now back up there fighting for a top 5 position. Jerry gets loose. Dale Jarrett got very loose going into turn 3 there, but it looks like he was able to get it back in, but he lost some position.
Wow, nice save here. I didn't see it. Let's find out what happened.
And you see a lot of cars going by Dale. He's wondering if maybe he has a tire going down. I'm sure that he's resting, he's riding sort of easy there right now just to see how that thing's going to feel going into this next turn. Looks like he went through there okay, but he's dropped back considerably in the field, and if the car is loose, it's going to be looser yet in this big pack of cars.
5 cars have broken away somewhat from the rest of the field. Jeremy Mayfield and Gary Coper running side by side, as are Ricky Rudd and Bobby Labonte. And John Andretti behind Bobby at the top of the track. Take a look again at what happened to Dale Jarrett, that he got loose and lost several positions.
Right there. When Jeremy Mayfield went up there, it took the air off his spoiler and just pulled it around a little bit.
That must be a scary feeling when all of a sudden there is no air on your rear spoiler, the thing that keeps the rear end of the car down on the racetrack, really.
Yeah, you can spin a car out and not touch it on this racetrack if you get just in the right position, and that was almost the right position there.
Looking back on Wally Dallenbach, here's more from Bill Weber.
Ned and Bob, they were on the wall here waiting to change a tire on Dale Jarrett's car, but you hit it right on, Ned. It was the air off the 98 car. His spotter called down to DJ and told him it's just the air off the 98 car. It loosened you up. You're all right, buddy.
But boy, what a tremendous setback, Ned. And again, it just goes to show you how a very instant when something goes wrong, and look how many positions he has lost.
Back in 23rd position.
Up front, it is Dale Earnhardt leading the Winston Select 500. Ernie Irvan is running second, and Jeff Gordon, Terry Labonte, and Mike Skinner. 19 laps have been completed. We'll take a break and be right back. Welcome back to ESPN's highlighted version of the Winston Select 500, the 9th race of the 96 season from Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. With the first half of the short track season completed, Dale Earnhardt moved into the points lead over Jeff Gordon. Dale Jarrett, who led the points for the first 7 races, has dropped back to 3rd. Ricky Craven and Terry Labonte completed the top 5 going into this event. We'll be back to the 2.6-mile tri-oval with turns banked at 33 degrees in just a moment. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, the 2.6-mile track featuring speeds near 200 miles an hour, and Jeff Gordon on the left has the lead of this event right now. Terry Labonte is running in second position, then Ken Schrader and Robert Presley.
Pretty calm up front, Bob. Single file racing, but look at Sterling Marlin as he continues to come up through the pack all the way from the back after making a pit stop during that caution. And Mark Martin has hung right onto him, right on his back bumper, and is coming to the front with him.
Every place that Marlin goes, Martin goes. Now we have Ernie Irvan and Dale Earnhardt both dropping back. Let's check with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, from the front to back in 14th spot, there's the Texaco Havoline 4 of Ernie Irvan. He's reporting that the race car has gotten very, very loose. Larry McReynolds said, hey, we've got about 20 laps until our scheduled pit stop. We'll come in and we'll add 1.5 pounds of air pressure in the right front and bump the rear spoiler. Just hang on, Ernie. Hang on, man. Meanwhile, back in Dale Earnhardt's situation, he has languished back to 25th spot, and he has an identical problem. He has told his crew, hey, I'm very loose. The problem's the same, so is the solution. Air pressure in the right front and bump the spoiler. Let's check in on Dale Jarrett's problem with Bill Weber.
Well, I can just say, the 88 car, Dale Jarrett is running fast laps, but is very, very loose. They're going to bump up the spoiler, make an air pressure adjustment. There's also some speculation down here that it's very breezy out here today, and that could be affecting the handle of the race car. John Kernan has more on Labonte.
Well, Bill, that wind doesn't seem to be affecting Terry Labonte at all. Just talked to his crew chief, Gary Dehart, and Gary smiled, and Gary says the car is perfect as far as handling-wise. It's running just a little bit warm, but Gary said that's nothing to worry about. First pit stop, they'll take a little bit of tape off to get a little more air into the radiator to cool it down.
Should have scheduled pit stops somewhere between laps 45 and 55. And Sterling Marlin has moved to 5th position. We timed the interval between Jeff Gordon, the leader, and Sterling Marlin, and dropped the interval 2.8 to 1 second, and he was faster than Jeff Gordon except 1 lap.
And remember that he and Mark Martin and a number of others made pit stops. They're going to have about 6 or 7 or 8 more laps that they can run out here before they have to make pit stops if everybody has to stop underground.
And as you can see, Mark Martin, who's joined with Sterling Marlin at the back of the pack, is now running 6th. Both of them go to the bottom side of the racetrack. All the way from 37 starting position for Mark Martin up to 6th.
Well, the Hendrick cars have been running 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but right now that's about to change as Sterling Marlin continues that move on the inside right to the front.
Man, a very impressive performance by Sterling Marlin.
Well, so much for the old saying, well, if those restrictor plate engines, you can't pass.
That's for sure. Looking back on Presley and Martin. How about the compression ratio, Ned? We've had a change since last year's race here at Talladega.
Well, certainly that reduced the horsepower a little bit on these restrictor plate engines, but it makes the drafting that much more effective. And that's what we're seeing here today. That's the draft is playing such an important role. You get the car in the right position. You can just motor. Here's Marlin out from the outside. He's lost his buddy, Mark Martin, back there.
But Marlin is now challenging for 2nd position. I think he's going to take 2nd. He does. Marlin now to 2nd. Terry Labonte back to 3rd. He sets out after Jeff Gordon, who finished 2nd in this race last year and 8th in the July race here at Talladega. Here's John with more on the compression ratios.
Well, Bob, Bill Weber and I were talking to Sterling this morning, and Sterling says with this lower compression engine that actually you can, Sterling Marlin is trying to get around for the lead, but he has no help to help him draft along. But Sterling, now he got him. He has him. Sterling Marlin pulls him to the lead after that pit stop and all the way from the back. But Gordon is trying to come back. And Gordon has his teammate behind him, Terry Labonte, to try and push him along. But Sterling says with these lower compression ratio engines, you can actually come up behind somebody, lift on the gas a little bit. And the 5-car, Terry Labonte, now dipping in with the 4-car, and there goes Gordon to the back. But Sterling says you can actually come up on somebody, lift on the gas just a little bit with these new lower compression ratio engines, mash the gas, and you'll get a little power to squirt around. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Funk.
However, John, I talked to Robert Gates this morning. He said, you think the 14-to-1 engine would get better fuel mileage? Guess again. The spark plug's good if you might be able to lean the motor out. But if you do lean the engine out to get better fuel mileage at 14-to-1, you lose a tremendous amount of horsepower. So you got to burn some gas, which means no better gas mileage than they got a year ago.
Ned, I'm a little bit surprised that Terry Labonte formed this drafting line behind Sterling Marlin and put his teammate Jeff Gordon back to what, 5th or 6th?
Well, he realized that Sterling Marlin was a faster car here right now, and that he needed to try to pull away from this crowd back behind him there, and that was his best opportunity to do it. I had a feeling that once Sterling Marlin got to the front of the pack that he would pull the field away more. Here's Dick Trickle in the pits, but he would run faster laps than they were running, and sure enough, he is.
Dick Trickle sitting on pit road, getting the tires changed on the car, doing a chassis adjustment there at the left rear.
Trickle was very high on his chances coming here to Talladega. Mark Smith, who's in the Health Source Ford, had bounced a lot more horsepower than they had at Daytona, and boy, they were looking forward to getting here. He did have a good 2nd round qualifying yesterday. He didn't qualify for Friday, but 2nd round qualifying, he ran good yesterday.
5 cars now in the lead draft, and the 2nd pack being led by Michael Waltrip. And then a couple of cars side by side are Steve Grissom and Mark Martin. We'll be right back with more in just a moment. Dick Trickle has made a pit stop, tries to catch up with the rest of the field, and will tell you that you can see the same real-time electronic timing and scoring that Winston Cup officials use to monitor the races. If you dial up www.nascar.com, NASCAR Online. Catch the progress of any car on the track, even print out a scoreboard to follow along with each race. NASCAR Online, www.nascar.com. They're the first four. Sterling Marlin, Terry Labonte, Ken Schrader, Jeff Gordon. 3 of the 4 are Hendrick cars, and running in 5th position is Robert Presley. Whoa, they're fanning out behind here and going 5 wide.
Ernie Irvin got a move run coming off there. Now, Darrell Walker just went a lap down here a moment ago to the leaders, so he's in that thick pack of cars. And Jeff Bodine up on the outside in the QBC number 7, he also went a lap down.
There are 37 cars on the lead lap at the moment, with 44 laps completed.
I think there are a good number of these cars that are anxious to get into the pits and get a few adjustments made to their cars.
Well, we should start seeing pit stops before long, shouldn't we, Ned?
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long because we've run 45 laps now.
Oh, look at this. Jarrett beside Ricky Craven and Jeff Bodine up on top.
And Bodine stays very high. Several other cars go by. That puts it down to just 2 wide now. That makes me feel better.
And there is Rusty Wallace, who has moved up to 24th.
Well, we should say move back.
Yeah,
really. Rusty actually started, in the 15th position. So Rusty's still running in that pack. But
there's Brett Bodine running behind Rusty.
Yeah, he was coming up through the pack with Sterling Marlin and Mark Martin, but when he got to the pack, apparently his car got a little bit loose in all the air that these cars were creating, so he had to drop off the pace a little bit, but he's still very much in there, but not up there with those that he was running with.
This is what it looks like from Brett Bodine's perspective. Ted Musgrave looking back on Brett.
Rusty went by on the inside. Here's Brett going by. There's Nemechek back there as well. I think these are some cars that would like maybe to get in the pits and get some adjustments made.
Just to show you how far that group of cars is from those running up front, led by Sterling Marlin. When we went green on lap number 12 after the Jimmy Spencer Morgan Shepherd mishap, Sterling Marlin was in 37th position. On lap number 40, he took the lead and has held it since. Where is Dale Earnhardt after running up front in the early stages of this event? The car lost its handling, and where is he?
Way back, what, 33rd position, Big Sean.
He is 33rd and out of the draft.
Yeah, he's riding this thing out right now, waiting for that first caution flag. You can see that his lap times are slower than those of Sterling Marlin. Not a whole lot, but enough to move him back through the pack.
So Dale Earnhardt is one of those that would like to get in for a pit stop here before too long and see if he can correct this problem that the car is experiencing. We're going to take a quick break in anticipation of the pit stops that are going to be coming up before too long. It's Sterling Marlin leading Terry Labonte in the Winston Select 500 at Talladega. Stay with us. We'll be right back. A very scary moment for Bill Elliott. The car got way off of the ground, got airborne. It came down on all fours, and Elliott has stopped the car off of corner number 2 in the backstretch on the inside of the racetrack, and he is waving to everybody. The safety crew has arrived, but look at what happened to Bill Elliott.
Well, you can see he's already off on the grass, Bob. The car gets up in the air, comes down, bounces around, the deck lid flies off of it. There, finally, the roof flap comes up as he turns backwards. Good bit of damage done to the McDonald's Ford, but he perhaps will be able to get it back out there. But you're right, that was a scary moment.
Third caution of the day coming out on lap number 79. Bill Elliott, you'll remember, made up 2 laps under green in 1985 to take the win here. He also won the July race in 1987. Boy, that could have been much more serious than it turned out to be.
Yeah, if the car had started barrel rolling, it really could have been a lot more serious. But fortunately, it just sort of bucked around out there a little bit like a bucking horse.
Scary ride, though, for Bill Elliott, I'm sure. Jarred his teeth, I'm sure. Well, the wrecker has arrived at the scene along with the safety crew, and now the pace car, which is out on the track, has the field in tow, and it looks like just about everybody's going to come in.
Yep, heading down pit road.
Rusty Wallace leads them down. Let's go down to John Kernan in Labonte's pit.
Kerry Labonte pulls in. They change left side tires. Last pit stop, they go around and work on the right side tires. Last pit stop, also a slight chassis adjustment. Car just a little bit tight, is what Gary Gehart told me. They're already waiting. Now they're coming around. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Gas and go for Rusty Wallace. So he's already returned. In front of him is the 18. In front of him the 12. Down to Jerry Punch.
Last time there was a gas and go for Mark Martin. This time they will change right side tires and gas it off as he is down pit road. Right side's only for Mark Martin.
Big movement out of the pits. Ernie Irvin comes out. Close call there between Derek Cope and I believe Hut Strickland as Derek was trying to get in the exit lane. John Andretti, one of the last to come out, along with Jeff Purvis. That's Bill Elliott's arm there out of the car.
Yeah, he had taken his helmet off a little bit earlier. I believe he's trying to come out.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just waiting, but at least his arm is moving around. And
here it is once again. Watch the right side here. We pan back and catch Elliott's car way up in the air. It gets over on the right corner and amazingly doesn't come over.
Yeah, that is amazing, Bob, and it fortunately lands back on its 4 wheels. Don't know what happened that started that accident that got him headed out into the grass.
Well, in any case, we will check on the condition of Bill Elliott. He appears to be not seriously injured. And we'll be back with more of our racing in just a moment. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Talladega. 85 laps on the board. Rusty Wallace is the race leader, waiting for the green flag to come back out, and we'll go back to racing. And when we do, look for the possibility of the 2 and the 6 hooking up. In fact, Rusty Wallace just thanked Mark Martin for helping him get back to the front of the field. When they're together, they might be the fastest 2 on the track. They're not teammates, but they're working together. Green flag out, racing back at Talladega.
They are 1st and 5th as the green flag comes out. Rusty Wallace is the leader. In 2nd position is Ward Burton. 3rd, Ricky Rudd. 4th, Jeff Gordon. And in 5th position is Mark Martin. Rusty has now led 6 of the last 7 races. He is 2nd in laps led this year next to Jeff Gordon.
And not up there among the front runners is Sterling Marlin, who was, but he came into the pits as they were coming around to get the 1-to-go signal, topped off with fuel. Boy, that is showing a tremendous amount of confidence, he and the crew, that they don't mind going to the back one more time. They've come from back to the front already, so they feel they can do it again. Now we'll see how far back he is after making that pit stop. Looking on back.
That was Johnny Benson in the yellow car. Let's look for the next yellow car.
There he is, right behind Robert Presley. He's a long way back, but got a fast race car.
He's back in 28th position at the moment. 28th for Sterling Marlin. Drafting partner right now is Robert Presley. John Kernan has a preliminary report on the condition of Bill Elliott.
Well, I just talked to his crew chief, Mike Beam, who was here at the Infield Care Center when they brought Bill in. And Mike walked by and said injured hip, possibly a broken hip. So Bill Elliott is undergoing examination right now in the Care Center. And we'll update you further as soon as we find out. But preliminary indications of possible broken hip.
All right, we will stay with that story throughout the afternoon and give you any information that becomes available to us. Meanwhile, on the racetrack, Jeff Gordon coming 3 wide at the start-finish line below the 71 car of Dave Marcus.
Remember, Dave is a lap down. He did not make a pit stop during this last caution.
Martin leads the second line down low with Michael Waltrip and Steve Grissom behind him. And from his perspective, he goes under Terry Labonte. And here's a Fram field summary. Rusty Wallace, the leader, started 15th. And the 98 car of Jeremy Mayfield, which crashed several laps ago, is 27 laps down, but he is back in competition, or at least is back out on pit road.
And here's another 3 wide going into turn 1. Michael Waltrip leading Steve Grissom and Dale Jarrett through there. Dave Marcus there able to hang right with them as
so Ward Burton has taken over the advantage now, leading the others down the backstretch. Jeff Gordon tucked in behind him.
Mark Martin slingshotting to the inside there. Ward Burton was very concerned when he came here Friday that his car in the first practice session, it didn't get the speed out of it that he wanted, and then went out and qualified in the 19th position, and here he is leading the race.
And Bill Weber has more.
Well, 2 Sundays ago, Ward Burton missed the race at North Wilkesboro, so he went home to Virginia and spent his Sunday plowing his field. Last week, he missed Martinsville and spent all day with a chainsaw. Now, this Sunday, he's leading the Winston Select 500. But after he missed both those races, now Jeff Gordon works back in front. When Ward missed both those races, he spent 2 hours outside the track signing autographs at a souvenir rig, then went home and did fan club work Saturday night to keep his fans happy. Now he's trying to keep his sponsor happy, but the 6 and the 5, I might have something to say about that.
And that's how quickly you can lose the lead. Ward is already back to 4th position as a battle for 5th behind him is between Schrader and Mark Martin.
Jeff Gordon back out front once again and has the lap car of Dave Marcus, who is hanging right in there with those guys.
And Rusty Wallace is on the low side once again. Rusty probably looking for Mark and maybe vice versa. Yeah, look at this. Mark moves down right in front of Rusty, and they draft together.
They had a good combination earlier in the race. Earnhardt up on the outside of Rusty Wallace there. But is Rusty close enough to... Now Earnhardt gets in there. He wants behind... No, you don't want behind Mark Martin. He wants to go by him. He has the momentum, and look at him. Just motor by down on the inside.
And Michael Waltrip tries to gain the position also, but cannot do it. Dale Earnhardt has, however, moved to 4th spot. A lap down in 36th position, but this is his first time on Talladega Superspeedway.
There are 34 cars being shown on the lead lap, and a couple of those cars, Bob, we saw them get lapped on the racetrack. Darrell Waltrip and Jeff Bodine in the first long green flag run. Well, they had made pit stops at about 10 laps, so they didn't have to stop when the others did. When the others did stop, they got back in the lead lap.
Earnhardt took a look to the inside of Ward Burton, but decided to drop back behind him. And now it's a 6-car, make a 7-car draft. Sterling Marlin, meanwhile, back in 23rd position. Hasn't moved up quite as quickly as he did earlier, but he is indeed coming to the front.
Hasn't passed as many cars as he did earlier, Bob, but I think distance-wise, I think he has. He was pretty far back when we saw him there a moment ago, and boy, he has drafted up there pretty quickly on these guys.
The next time they come by, they'll receive the cross flag signal from Doyle Ford indicating the halfway mark.
$10,000 Gatorade money.
That's right, and Jeff Gordon is among those eligible for the money. Look at Marlin's lap times compared to Jeff Gordon's. They're consistently faster.
Yeah, at least a half a second a lap, and sometimes more than that. But and here comes Terry Labonte. He wants that $10,000. Earnhardt wants it too. Who's going to get it?
Nope, Labonte got it.
Terry Labonte, 3 for the lead going into turn 1.
The battle for $10,000 and the halfway mark goes to Terry Labonte, but now Dale Earnhardt puts himself ahead of the field.
corner for backing off.
Whoa.
About to cause a big wreck.
That was as close as you can come at more than 190 miles an hour.
They are getting on with it here at Talladega.
Halfway, 93 more laps to go. It's Dale Earnhardt now in front of the Winston Select 500 at Talladega with Labonte second. Welcome back to ESPN's highlighted version of the Winston Select 500, the 9th race of the 96 season from Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. With the first half of the short track season completed, Dale Earnhardt moved into the points lead over Jeff Gordon. Dale Jarrett, who led the points for the first 7 races, has dropped back to third. Ricky Craven and Terry Labonte completed the top 5 going into this event. We'll be back to the 2.6-mile tri-oval with turns banked at 33 degrees in just a moment. Getting set for a restart, Michael Waltrip is at the front of the field. Let's look more closely at this accident. Ned, good eyes here.
Well, I saw a red car up in front of me. This is the blue car is Jeff Burton. And here comes Brett Bodine, and you see right there is the hit. And it's Rick Mast that is in front of Jeff Burton. And Burton hit Mast after Mast apparently made contact with Dave Marcus.
Yep. So it was not Jeff Burton that had the direct contact with Rick Mast. It was, or rather with Dave Marcus, it was Rick Mast.
Okay.
All right, now we get set for a restart here. The line is forming. Michael Waltrip is at the front. We have an AutoZone on-track interval for you. Waltrip and Earnhardt. Look at the difference. 32.9 for Waltrip and 42.6 for Earnhardt.
I'm going to speculate that there was a difference. We saw Earnhardt change 4 tires, and maybe Michael only took on 2 tires. Not belittling their pit stop at all. They made a great pit stop to get out in front of the pack.
Pace car pulls off.
See, there are only 4 cars that are laps down. Looks like there's just one lap down. 31, 19, 17, and 90 are 1 lap down.
Green is waving. Back to racing. Michael Waltrip's best finish here at Talladega came in May of 1994. He was third and has the Wood Brothers signal Ford at the front of the field right now. And we look back on Terry Labonte from his perspective. There are 70 laps to go in this one. And a tightly bunched field of cars comes out of corner number 2, building up steam down the backstretch. Here comes Sterling Marlin to the inside with Steve Grissom right behind him.
Steve Grissom's had a good run here today in the car 29. He's hung right up in there in that top 15 or so.
Showed in 9th position now. Skinner and Robert Presley are side by side. Skinner is not on the lead lap in the 31 car, but Robert Presley is on the lead lap. He is in 4th spot.
There's still 31 cars on the lead lap. We might be in for a record here as far as number of cars finishing on the lead lap.
This is where it gets a little tense. We're past the halfway point. Drivers are ready to make their moves, but the racing is very tight. Dale Jarrett picks up a spot there. Although the draft is important, Ned, we've seen a lot of unassisted passing this afternoon.
Well, we have, but it's come as a result of the draft.
Yeah.
They pick up momentum behind a couple of other cars and just slingshot right past them is what happens. Look here, they're 4 wide. Sterling Marlin, he might have enough horsepower to not even have to need the slingshot. Dale Jarrett right behind him. That's helping him.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
Got Earnhardt in the middle there.
Might we see a resurgence of the slingshot, Ned, with the lower compression engines?
Well, yes, but it takes more than 1 car to do it. It used to be that Cale Yarborough made it so famous winning Daytona 500 by running second, getting the white flag, and then slingshotting past on the last lap. But you can't do that now with just 2 cars out there running by themselves. Sure as I say that, they'll do it at the end of the race. But
now Terry Labonte to the inside with Robert Presley, Dale Earnhardt, and others make the challenge, and Terry Labonte in the inside line go to the front. Cranfield summary for you, where your driver was running last lap.
Ernie Irvin making a move. He's trying to slingshot past somebody. Got Rusty Wallace helping him back there to go past Jeff Bodine. Jeff Bodine in the middle there.
And there is Wally Dallenbach also in that group. Dallenbach in the blue car on the low side. Wally with a good run after an excellent run at Daytona. And we'll see him, I'm sure, as one of the favorites next weekend when we go to the road course at Sears Point in Sonoma, California.
16 Wallace there near the end of this pack. He led the race for a while as a result of staying out longer than others and had made an early pit stop, a fuel stop, and stayed out and led the race. Then got a break with the caution, but he had a problem in the pits, and they wound up at the rear of the field, but he's still out there on the lead lap. Ernie Irvin trying to make some more moves. There's Kenny Wallace in the 81 car, the Square D Ford.
Back up front, it's Terry Labonte, followed by Dale Earnhardt. Last year's pole winner here at Talladega, Terry Labonte, has led 28%, or had led 28% of the laps on Superspeedways going into this event. He is currently 5th in the point standings. Terry Labonte, the Iron Man of NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Sterling Marlin 3rd, Dale Jarrett 4th, Robert Presley is 5th.
Here's Ernie Irvin again. Every time we see him on that backstretch, he's pulling out and passing some cars, or trying to.
He's behind Ward Burton, who is behind Steve Grissom, who's behind Bobby Hamilton. And Rudd got way up high there in the corner in the Tide machine. Sterling Marlin looked to the inside of Dale Earnhardt coming into the tri-oval and will make a bid for the lead. He's got Dale Jarrett behind him.
Yep, he pulled down there hoping Jarrett would go with him. Sure enough, Jarrett did. Shuffles Earnhardt back. Now Jarrett going to try to go on the inside of Labonte as well. He has the momentum and takes the position.
Dale Jarrett going for the Winston Million. If he wins here today, it's a check for $100,000, but he doesn't cash it yet. He waits until Charlotte and Darlington to see if he can win another one, in which case he would be paid $1 million. Of course, it's only been done once by Bill Elliott in 1985. And Ken Schrader, we understand, has a problem.
Yeah,
he was just waving the cars by him.
Sounds like the engine might have gone around the car. Well,
he was running in 18th position, Ken Schrader was. He's down on the apron now, entering pit road in the Bud machine.
Well, maybe he geared it down, so maybe it isn't the engine. Maybe he had a flat or something. I don't know. He's coming into the pits.
Here's Bill Weber.
Schrader's here, reported a vibration to his crew. They swing around to the right side. They'll fuel the Budweiser Chevy. Ken Schrader got his first win here at Talladega. Was hoping to get another one today. They've changed the 2 right side tires. They're going to come around and make a 4-tire change to make sure that now it's just a 2-tire change. Leaders on the going into 3. Knew the leaders were coming. Heads back out.
I think they also took a look at the tires on the right side and said, they're okay, Kenny. So we got the problem corrected. Here come the pack off of the 4th corner. He's going to be able to stay on the lead lap, but these cars are at full speed, and Schrader has got a long way to go before he's at full speed.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get that speed up, so I think Kenny, unfortunately, will go a lap down because they'll catch him before he gets his speed up.
Jeff Purvis there in the 44 car on the left side of your screen. He has stayed in the lead lap all day and doing a great job. They're black flagging the 25 car.
Wonder if he might have exited pit road a little bit too fast.
I bet so.
Well, he's going to lap down there right now.
And he's moving up on the track to allow the faster cars to go by him. And this isn't a great opportunity for him to come into the pits and heed the black flag. So he'll go around at least one more time.
At least 32 cars on the lead lap.
Martin up on the high side of the racetrack. Now racing alongside of Jeff Gordon. Positions changing every lap. It's anybody's race. No car certainly has shown a domination of this race. Sterling Marlin is the driver up front right now. We'll be right back. ESPN SpeedWorld coverage of the Winston Select 500 is being brought to you by the Miller Brewing Company, proud sponsor of the Miller Racing Team. We race for beer. By Pennzoil, the motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings. And by the more than 1,250 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Well, leading this race is local hero Steve Grissom, and he is leading a NASCAR Winston Cup race for the first time in 1996. So what are the pit strategies now from here on? First of all, John Kernan.
Well, Bob, Robert Presley has been running in the top 5, top 10 all day long. Just came in. He topped off with fuel. Andy Petrie says now they can make it the rest of the way. They also had changed 4 tires the first time in. Terry Labonte's crew changed the left side tires only and took on fuel. They will make it the rest of the way. And Bill Engel tells me Steve Grissom is going to try to make it the rest of the way because they have nothing to lose.
Dale Jarrett still fighting a handling problem getting into turn 3. They couldn't run the risk of going to the rear. They had to stay out. They are going to be right on the edge of their window. Same with the 4 bunch. Sterling Marlin stopped on the lap previous. They topped it off. They also are at the edge of their window. Unfortunately, sometime on the edge, you fall off. Jerry Punch.
Earnhart can go 56 laps. They have 54 remaining. They think they can make it. They shouldn't be a problem. However, the 21 car, Michael Waltrip, they've got to go 54. The most they have gone today, the most they've calculated they can go is 52. But hey, they're going to roll the dice to try to pick one off.
After a long red flag period, we are ready to go back to racing. The green flag comes out, and the Winston Select 500 is on once again. Terry Labonte running in second position. Michael Waltrip, and a great effort for him, is running in third, and there are the top 10 on your scoring pylon. As you can see, 52 laps to go. Now, last year in this race, Rusty Wallace tried to go 62 laps for the win. He ran out with 5 laps to go. But as you heard, most people think that they can go the rest of the distance on the fuel that they have.
As I say, it'll be close for some. There's Kenny Schrader. He's 1 lap down. Remember, he had a flat tire and had to make a green flag pit stop and went a lap down. There are 19 cars on the lead lap.
And Steve Grissom holds them off for 1 lap under green. He got his first top 10, Steve Grissom did, here in this race in 1994. He's a hometown favorite. He grew up just down the road here in Gadsden, Alabama. Was a football player, and he's leading this race.
Caution is out, and there's the reason. Ricky Rudd's hood has come off. So if those that were wondering about being able to make it, they might come in now and cap off.
Yep.
Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll say, well, we don't use as much fuel during caution flags. And you can see the hood is gone off. Ricky's tied forward. So be interesting to see. They'll race back to the line.
Steve Grissom maintaining the lead right now. Terry Labonte dropping kind of low on the racetrack, letting several go by. Jerry, what happened to Ricky's car?
The tide port a little bit ago, even though they had used bungee cord to hold the front of the hood down, with the whole front bumper and grill gone, so much air under that hood, it's like a wind tunnel. It basically, the air got underneath the hood and broke the hinges, just snapped the hinges at the back of the hood and let the hood come flying off.
All right, so the debris will have to be picked up here in the tri-oval before we go back to racing. There is Rudd making his way down pit road with the hood gone on that car. We'll be back with more in just a moment from Talladega Superspeedway, the Winston Select 500. You're watching highlighted coverage of the Winston Select 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race from Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, the longest and fastest track on the NASCAR circuit. This is the 9th race of the 31-event schedule for 1996. We now move it. Well, Rusty Wallace had a great run going for a while. Unfortunately, he was involved in that accident down in turn number 1, but he is back in the race. Now, True Value has a $10,000 reward. They call it the $1,000 reward, I should say. The Man of the Race award. It went to Rusty Wallace last week for winning the Goodies Headache Powder 500. It's donated to the driver's favorite charity. In this case, it went to the Rusty Wallace Charitable Foundation, which contributes to the Brenner's Children's Hospital and the Center for the Prevention of Child Abuse. So good award there by True Value, $1,000. Well, who's going to win the $1,000 in this one, Ned? It's still anybody's race.
Yes, it really is. I don't know. It's still up for grabs. That is for sure. Those 4 race cars right there are awfully good. Dale Jarrett finally did clear Ted Musgrave, so he is catching back up to that front foursome. Riding with Michael Waltrip as he rides along behind Dale Earnhardt. Michael is third. Eddie Wood there cheering his driver on.
This would be a great finish for the Wood brothers.
Yeah, Michael having never won.
Yeah. His best finish, as a matter of fact, this year was at Atlanta 9th, so he's got his best run of the year going.
On the inside, on the inside.
Our Western Auto mechanic of the race go to the co-winners, Lynn and Eddie Wood, who are the chief wrenches on Michael Waltrip's car.
They're all around, they're all around. Say the Ford can only run on the bottom, no good on top.
You can say that again.
Yeah, they're telling that the 4 car can only run on the bottom of the racetrack. He can't run up high. And Dale Jarrett's in a similar situation. That's Eddie Wood that's doing that talking.
Shoots to the inside in the tri-oval. It's alongside Dale Earnhardt.
Still got one underneath. Still there. 16 will come and help us.
Well, 16 didn't come and help him.
16's helping 88 now. Keep digging, dude. Hang on.
But those guys called the race for us. They're telling what's going on out there.
Doing great play-by-play here, man, while you and I can sit back and watch.
Yeah. Steve Grissom there caught down on the inside. Here's Marlin going for second.
Making a bid once again. This is where he tried last lap and couldn't get it pulled off, but now he's got a little bit more help from Dale Jarrett, it looks like. And Marlin still running side by side with Dale Earnhardt. This helps Terry Labonte pull away a little bit. Now Ted Musgrave lines up alongside Dale Jarrett.
Yep, he's going to go with Earnhardt. Now everybody's coming up there to get in on the action.
Back also joins the group. That's the blue car there at the back of the field, along with Bobby Hamilton.
Wally having a great run here today again. He had a great run in the Daytona 500. Started in 35th position, right there with the lead pack.
There are 11 cars in here, and 9 of them are on the lead lap. Dick Triple isn't, and neither is Mike Skinner, but everybody else is battling for position.
Terry Labonte is just hanging out there by himself. Of course, those cars running side by side back there. That's helping him. Ooh, Earnhardt and Marlin get close to each other.
They've been close a couple of times. Jarrett's going to go with Marlin on the bottom now.
Trying it one more time down there. Now Marlin clears Musgrave, but Jarrett doesn't clear him.
Isn't it, that they're going around there with a badly damaged race car. Terry Labonte finished 26th in this race last year. He leads the field at the moment with less than 27 laps to go. Wally Dallenbach moves up. Goes to the inside of Dick Trickle. Now he's passing those two cars that are not on the lead lap. Looking at Wally from Dick Trickle's in-car camera.
Well, it doesn't look like he can see very good. I can't see very good out his windshield.
Yeah, the sun is really creating a glare there.
But your eyes get focused on once you've been in there doing that for a while. Your eyes get focused, and he can see better than we can through there.
John Kernan has more on this run by Wally Dallenbach.
Wally has always seemed to run well here at Talladega, and he had some high hopes coming in here for this race to finish maybe in the top 5, maybe even have a chance to win the race. But he's really looking forward to going out to Sears Point next week. For the first time in his Winston Cup career, he has helped more or less design and build a road course car. The Bredenwar crew has built a car specifically for the road courses, and Wally has had input from start to finish. So look for Wally Dallenbach Jr. next week. If he doesn't win today, he may have a good shot at winning next week on the road course at Sears Point.
Dallenbach's best finish of the year has been a 6th in the opening event at Daytona.
Terry Labonte pulling down to get every little bit of draft he can to give up on Jeff Ladine, who's out there just making laps. And every little bit of draft he can get, he shot him out there. Gave him a couple of car lengths lead. He's coming up on another car that he's getting some draft off of.
They black flagged the 28 car, by the way. Ernie Irvin just not able to go fast enough to be safe out there, so they have black flagged Ernie Irvin. Meanwhile, the field off the second corner and down the backstretch with less than 25 laps to go. It's Terry Labonte right now, but a lot of potential winners in this one. And there are less than 23 laps to go in this one when we will be switching to the seniors golf.
Here's Sterling Marlin trying to go up on the outside. Somebody said a while ago his car wouldn't work high. Well, he's trying it high on the outside of Dale Jarrett, and Ted Musgrave's going to go with him.
Terry Labonte is still at the front of the field with Earnhardt running second. Now Dale Jarrett and Ted Musgrave are side by side through the tri-oval as we watch the Michael Waltrip Citgo Ford.
Well, Marlin just going right on up through there, going for the lead here now.
And he's going to get the lead. That's where he likes to run, down on the bottom of the racetrack. He had to go up high, but now he's able to take the lead from Terry Labonte on the bottom side of turn number 2. Sterling Marlin now leads the Winston Select 500. And it is Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett in 3rd and 4th.
Ted Musgrave running up high there in 5th place.
Let's take a look at this second pack here, Ned, that includes Robert Presley and John Andretti and Rick Mast and others.
Well, they're being very disciplined there, Bob, running in single file while these drivers up here are jockeying back and forth and making a lot of passes, and that could let them catch up.
With as many laps to go as we have, they're probably going to be able to catch up to the lead group and make it about a 17-car shootout for the lead.
Could happen.
There are 17 cars on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt to the bottom side of Dale Jarrett.
Well, Jarrett just passed him on the last lap, and now he comes right back past him. Oh, there's a big bug.
Sterling Marlin was the last to win this race from the pole position. That was in July of 1995. Jeff Gordon has decided to come back into the race. The DuPont refinishes Chevrolet is badly damaged, but able to pick up some positions possibly and get a few more points.
That's exactly right. He's being shown in 35th place right now, but he could pick up at least 2 or 3 or maybe 4 or 5 positions, and that could make a big difference at the end of the year.
heck of a duel out there.
But he's coming up on Ernie Irvin. Well, he got by before they got there, so it didn't matter. Ernie back out on the racetrack.
And they black flagged him and said they were going to pull his scoring card, but he went back into the garage area a few laps, and he's back out there. We're talking about Ernie Irvin, the pole sitter, who will not win the $12,500 in Unocal bonus money that was available to him and him only. If points were awarded right now, and we still have a few more laps to go, Sterling Marlin would jump 4 positions up to number 5 in the point standings. Jeff Gordon would drop 2 from 2nd to 4th. Terry Labonte up 2 and Dale Jarrett up 2. Craven would lose 2 positions. Rudd 1, Musgrave would lose 1. Hamilton up 3 and Rusty Wallace down 2. And we'll show you 11 through 15 also, as everybody there mostly stays the same except Bobby Labonte, who moves up 1. Bill Elliott will go down 3. He has been out of the race since his accident on about lap 78. You wonder if Bill Elliott will be able to run next week at Sonoma, Ned.
Yeah, with the hip operation, they have to do surgery on that. It would be doubtful if he would be able to.
We can only speculate as to who might replace him, but we will be in Sonoma next week. The latest. Somebody else recovering from hip surgery is my mom. Like to say hi to her today.
Certainly wish her well.
And Chevy Furlan's grandmother also. Here's a Fram Field summary. Steve Grissom up from 23rd starting position. Bobby Hamilton from 39th to 9th. And Wally Dallenbach from 35th to 8th.
Well, there are 6 cars that are sort of broken away here now. Actually, there are 7 cars there. Mike Skinner is a lap down. He's running right behind Michael
Go way
Walker.
back. You got the 19, which is a lap down.
Several of these cars shown out of the race here were involved in that turn 1 accident, including Mark Martin, Craven, who has been airlifted to Caraway Medical Center in Birmingham for further evaluation, and Bill Elliott, who has suffered a broken hip. Broken femur, we understand.
Well, is there anyone who can't make it on fuel? I don't know.
And is there anyone who wants to put any money down on any one of these guys right now? I'm not willing to.
No, I don't think you can count any of those 6 out that are there right now. Although it was sort of have to favor Marlin because of how strong that car has been here all day long. And he just has gone to the front at will.
Yep. Sometimes all by himself without the help of the draft. He's come forward.
Derek getting pretty close to Terry Labonte now. Terry started to go low. Derek started to go high. You understand that maybe Wally Dallenbach has lost his cylinder.
Oh, that's too bad.
There it is.
You can see on your scoring pylon that he's running in 8th position, but if he's dropped his cylinder, he's going to be falling out of that. There he is. And here comes that second pack now by Robert Presley, John Andretti, Johnny Benson, and others. All right, Jerry, what's the strategy that the Earnhardt team is thinking about?
They're sitting here in the pits watching the television, watching the monitor. Here's what they're going to try to do. They've sent runners to other pits. They sent a runner to the 21 pits, a runner to the 29 pits, and they want Skinner to get up there. They'd like to get 3 or 4 cars. As Ned said earlier, you can't slingshot with 1 car, but with 3 or 4, and Earnhardt leading that slingshot, they might have a shot at the front 2.
Here's Michael Walker trying to make a move on the outside of Steve Grissom, who just drove up there going into the turn, hoping that Mike Skinner might come with him, and it looked like Mike might do just that. Michael Spotter talking to him.
There. Clear. Good job. Good job.
Second position, moved into 5th.
We've had 14 different leaders and 25 lead changes in this event. Averaging about 115 miles an hour despite the red flag. Last lap turned at 161.3 by Sterling Marley. Tries to break the draft here in the tri-oval.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to pick up the draft of that Ernie Irvin's car down there on the other side.
Look how far it is down to turn 3.
Long way down that back.
Long way.
They're getting cranked up going down to there.
Another slow car coming up will be the 12.
Michael Walker started there, and they're just coming up on the 12 car. Derek Coach is running slow down on the inside. He's one of
Get forward, 11 to go, 1-1 to go.
Derek involved in that big crash. There you see his car down on the inside. Had a great run going today, Derek Coach.
Sure did. Looking good. 7 cars in line here, but the 7th car, Mike Skinner, is not on the lead lap. So just the top 6 here are going for the win. Here's the second pack now.
They called Ted Musgrave, who had lost the draft of that front pack. Don't know if they're gaining on the leaders or not, because Ted was sort of falling back. He and Dick Trickle were drafting together.
Robert Presley and John Andretti and the others catch up to those 2 cars.
Might have gained a little bit while they were coming up on Musgrave and Trickle. 17 cars still on the lead lap.
192.2 for the last lap.
Getting on with it. That's not far from the qualifying pole speed here. It was just over 192 miles an hour.
I have a feeling I had some bad information just a lap or 2 ago when I said it was 161. That's what my thing is showing, but I think that's probably 191.
Yeah.
Now we got a Pontiac running 10th with Johnny Benson. 2 Chevys, a Ford, another Chevy, and a Ford in the top 5. 2 and 2 and 1 in the second 5.
Boy, I tell you, there's some things going through these guys' mind right now. What am I going to do? What do I need to do to win this race? Here's Presley going by Ted Musgrave. That's for the 7th position.
And John Andretti will come along also and pass Ted Musgrave. Here comes Johnny Benson and Bobby Hamilton under Musgrave. They come down to complete lap number 180. 8 laps to go.
Deals out there, it sounds like, Bob, from information that we're getting, and that is that Grissom says he'll go with Michael Walker. He don't have any choice but to go. He'd be foolish not to go with whoever makes the move up there, because he's the last car on the lead lap in this pack.
Yep.
And so, yeah, he'd go with him and try to help him out a little bit, try to get himself another position.
For those of you tuning in for the Seniors Golf Stay tuned because it'll be coming up in now 7 laps. That's from Las Vegas. We're running a little bit over because we had a red flag and had to repair the catch fence down in turn 1, but we're less than 7 laps from the conclusion of this event. And as soon as we can, we'll wrap it up and send you to Las Vegas.
Earnhardt looked high on Jarrett going into turn 1. And now he looks high again as Jarrett looks low with Terry Labonte, and they can't make a move. That 4 car is so strong that 2 of them together couldn't do it.
Yep. Sterling Marlin won the race in July here at Talladega last year.
Here's Jarrett trying to make a move on Labonte, trying to go for second.
Wonder who Earnhardt's going to go with.
Oh, he's going to go with the car that's going towards the front. You can rest assured. And then maybe figure out later on what to do. Now there's Chevrolets run side by side back there for a little bit with Earnhardt and Terry Labonte. That might hurt them. That might help Jarrett and Sterling Marlin pull away. In fact, they've got about 5 or 6 car lengths here already. Those guys do not want to stay side by side for long. That will absolutely kill them.
But on the other hand, you don't want to give up the position.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Clear. You're clear all around.
Michael Walker straight to him. He's clear. Here comes Labonte right back up there again. Boy, that's the best thing that can happen to Dale Jarrett and Sterling Marlin is for those guys to run side by side back there.
I thought Shirley was going to drop in behind Earnhardt and stand a better chance of catching the 2. But no, they stay side by side, and that does give quite an advantage here in the late going to Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett.
You're right, they can't afford to back off. Now Earnhardt gets out in front of Terry Labonte. Michael Waltrip there is on the inside of him, so are they going to draft up? You got to have 2 cars drafting together. I don't think Earnhardt can catch him by himself, and these cars back there racing side by side. And they're not going to help him any. Earnhardt, you see, has pulled away from them while they race side by side.
But Marlin and Jarrett are quite a ways up ahead as things go here at Talladega. Now they may get back into line, but is it too late?
Well, I don't know. They got, what, about 4 more laps to go.
It's 2.6 miles around.
Now, the leaders are coming up on some traffic, although it's traffic that's running slow. Bobby Labonte's up there. He might be running fast enough. That's about the only chance I believe that Dale Jarrett might have is catch Sterling Marlin in traffic. These 3 cars down on the inside won't be a factor, excepting to help these 2 cars we see on the screen pull away from Earnhardt and them behind them. But now they're going around those cars pretty quickly. Bobby Labonte is up there running at a pretty good pace. Bobby is 2 laps down in 25th position. Now Terry Labonte has caught back up to Dale Earnhardt, but you can see that Jarrett and Marlin's pretty good piece in front of them.
Yep, and there's now 3 laps to go.
Now they're going to catch Kyle Petty and Bobby Labonte, who are running along at a pretty good clip.
Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett first and second.
Here they come up on those 2 cars.
Bobby Labonte and Kyle Petty.
That might be Jarrett's only chance if he can get himself in position when they pass those 2 cars is to get in front of Sterling Marlin. Because I said earlier, I just can't believe that one car can pull out and pass another in slingshot like we saw years ago.
And for Earnhardt and Labonte and Michael Waltrip and Steve Grissom, the time is running out. 2 laps to go. A little over 5 miles of competition to go, and now the 2 running up front.
Dale Jarrett's going to try to draft on Kyle Petty, but Kyle moves down to the inside of the racetrack out of the way, and the traffic is not going to be a factor.
And now Earnhardt and the others are caught behind this traffic, momentarily at least.
Ooh, some close racing. Chuck Bowen and Bobby Labonte got awfully close together.
There's Dale Earnhardt trying to catch a little bit of a toe off Kyle Petty. They come down through the tri-oval, and the white flag is about to wave for Sterling Marlin.
traffic situation.
Here we go, the last lap. The white flag is showing. Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett go into turn number 1, nose to tail. Dale Earnhardt, several car lengths behind, will probably not be a factor in the win. Although he and Labonte have now hooked up into the draft, and they may come close to Jarrett.
Well, if they do, Jarrett will, whichever way he feels Earnhardt's going to go, he's going to try to get in front of him to try to let him push him by.
Now they move into turns 3 and 4.
$100,000 up for Jarrett if he can make a pass.
Let's see if he can do it. They come on to the tri-oval. Doesn't look very good, Ned.
No, it doesn't. I don't think he can do it.
Marlin has a 1 car length advantage as they head for the line. There's the checkered flag. Sterling Marlin wins at Talladega with Dale Jarrett second, then Dale Earnhardt, Terry Labonte finishing in 4th, and Michael Waltrip 5th. Here's John.
Oh, a big bucket of ice-cold Gatorade going on Tony Glover. Well, Tony, it had to feel pretty good, huh?
Oh, man, I tell you, it's great. Sterling drove his heart out, and Runt, Glenn, Darrell, Jay, everybody in our motor room gave us a heck of a motor. Billy, all the guys at the shop, and Charlie Brunosa, Mike Laughlin, man, everybody here just gave me something great. I just watched it. It's fun.
How'd that shower feel there? That's pretty cold. You feel ice cold now?
Pretty cold.
Tony Glover heads down to victory lane. Everybody having a happy time down here in Sterling Marlin's pit, Bob.
It's Sterling's 5th career win. All have been on super speedways. 2 at Daytona, 2 at Darlington, or rather 1 at Darlington and 2 at Talladega. His first win of '96. Stay with us now, especially you golf fans, because the senior PGA from Las Vegas is coming up in just a moment. We're going to try to get Sterling into victory circle and get a quick word with him, and then we'll send you out to the golf. Great day, although we have had at least 2 drivers injured, Ricky Craven and Bill Elliott. We certainly hope that their injuries will not be very serious and they can get back into the racing game just as quickly as possible. Checking the spoiler there, Ned.
Yes, that's what they do on these high-speed restrictor plate tracks. They come in and check the spoiler to be sure that they're right height.
Second Chevy win of the 7th Chevy win of '96. Here are the unofficial results. Terry Labonte 4th. Michael Waltrip, great run for him, along with Grissom, Presley. Musgrave had a great run. So did John Andretti, Johnny Benson, Bobby Hamilton, Wally Dow. All these guys just had tremendous races here this afternoon. There are 16 through 30 rather, and you can see that there were 16 cars on the lead lap when the checkered flag dropped. And the remainder of the unofficial results. Sterling Marlin pulling the Kodak Film Chevrolet into victory circle, having won, and the 16th winner of the Winston Select 500 here at Talladega. And the win by Chevy ties them with Ford with most wins here at this facility, 14. Just as soon as he gets his helmet off, we will be sending it down to Dr. Jerry Punch and getting a quick word with Sterling Marlin in the winner's circle.
Well, he won here last July.
Here's the McDonald's winner's circle interview with Dr. Punch.
Sterling trying to get unhooked out here in victory lane, trying to get the earpieces out, and gets a big cold bottle of Gatorade handed to him. We'll try to get his earpiece off, and a big smile from the Kodak Film driver. Hey, Sterling, how about that one, my friend? Great effort.
Man, I tell you what, with all these Kodak guys, they done a great job. Runt standing right there, he built us a heck of a motor for this thing, and we felt like we left one laying on the table at Daytona, and we come down here and tested, probably run 1,200 miles, and all the credit in the world goes to the Kodak crew. Thanks.
You had to like the fact that you saw those guys racing side by side, the 3 and the 5, and left you just to beat Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, it did. You know, when I saw them get back there side by side, and I think it was 4 laps to go, I figured that we might pull off and get away from them. But if they ever got lined up, they'd be running 10 mile an hour faster when he got us. But it held off, and man, we're just glad to be here. I tell you, it feels great.
From the back to the front 3 different times, Sterling Marlin picked up his first win of 1996, and he is the winner here at Talladega.
Sterling Marlin wins at Talladega Superspeedway. And we head for Sonoma, California, Friday qualifying. Next Saturday night, the Featherlight Budweiser 200 at 12:30 a.m. Eastern. Then NASCAR today at 3:30 next Sunday, and the Save Mart Supermarket 300 live at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. For Ned Jarrett, Jerry Punch, John Curtin, and Bill Weber, I'm Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us. So long, everyone.